Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly maintain healthy routines while others struggle? It all boils down to habits, those automatic behaviors that we repeat regularly, almost without thinking. They shape our daily lives, subtly steering us towards success or unfortunately sometimes failure. Habits can be our most reliable allies or our most formidable foes. An early riser who hits the gym every morning? That's a habit working for you. Alternatively, a nightly ritual of binge-watching TV shows, leading to sleep deprivation? That's a habit working against you. These little routines are so deeply ingrained in us that they often go unnoticed, running silently in the background of our lives. But they hold immense power, capable of shaping our health, productivity, and happiness. Today we're going to dive deep into the psychology behind forming and breaking habits, exploring how they take root in our minds, and how we can harness their power. Understanding the psychology of habits is the first step towards taking control of your life. The human brain is an amazing thing, and it's at the heart of how we form, maintain, and break habits. Diving into the psychology of habits, we find ourselves in the realm of neural pathways. These are like roads in our brain that become well-trodden through repetition. The more we repeat an action, the stronger and more automatic the pathway becomes. This is how habits are formed. They start as conscious decisions, but over time, they become automatic behaviors that we hardly think about. Let's break down a habit into three parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward. The cue is a trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode and which habit to use. It could be a location, a time of day, an emotional state, or even a preceding action. The routine is the behavior itself, which can be physical, mental, or emotional. The reward, as the name suggests, is a positive reinforcement that tells your brain that this loop is worth remembering. Imagine this. Every day after work you feel stressed. Cue. So you decide to unwind with a glass of wine. Routine. You find this relaxing and enjoyable. Reward. Over time, this pattern repeats until it becomes a habit. Your brain now associates stress relief with drinking wine. But here's the fascinating part. Once a habit is formed, the brain starts anticipating the reward as soon as it recognizes the cue. This anticipation creates a craving, which drives the routine. That's why habits are so powerful and sometimes hard to break. However, understanding this cycle gives us a roadmap for change. If we can identify and manipulate these three components, cue, routine, reward, we can alter our habits. Want to establish a new habit? Create a clear cue, a simple routine, and a tangible reward. Need to break a bad habit? Identify the cue and reward driving your behavior and find a healthier routine that delivers the same reward. The key to forming a new habit or breaking an old one lies in understanding and manipulating these three components. We all have goals we want to achieve, and forming positive habits can help us get there. So how do we cultivate these beneficial routines? Well, it's not as daunting as it may seem. Firstly, start small. Let's picture a person aiming to read more books. Instead of setting out to read an entire book in a day, they might aim to read for just 5 minutes each day. This manageable change makes the habit easier to adopt, and over time, 5 minutes can easily extend into longer reading sessions. Consistency is our next ally in habit formation. The key here is repetition. Consider the example of a young piano player. Practicing the same piece every day, even for a short time, allows them to master it eventually. This is because our brains strengthen neural connections with each repetition, gradually transforming our actions into automatic behaviors. Lastly, incorporating rewards and positive reinforcement can make the habit-forming journey enjoyable. For instance, a person trying to exercise regularly might reward themselves with a favorite treat after each workout. This reward not only makes the process more appealing, but also reinforces the positive behavior. These strategies have proven successful in countless real-life instances. Take the story of a man who, by starting small, staying consistent, and rewarding himself, was able to transform his sporadic running routine into a daily habit, eventually completing his first marathon. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Breaking bad habits can be a real challenge, but understanding the psychology behind them can give us the tools we need. It starts with identifying triggers. These are cues that start a habitual behavior. It could be anything from a time of day, a location, or even a particular emotion. Think of that evening craving for a sugary snack when you're feeling stressed. That's a trigger, but recognizing the trigger is just the first step. What comes next is substitution. This means replacing the bad habit with a healthier alternative. Let's take our earlier example. Instead of reaching for a cookie, you could opt for a piece of fruit or a handful of nuts. You're not denying yourself a snack, you're simply choosing a healthier option. Now let's talk about seeking support from others. We're social creatures and our habits can often be influenced by those around us. So why not turn this to our advantage? Sharing your goals with friends or family can provide a valuable support system, and if you're comfortable doing so, even join a group with similar objectives. For instance, consider the case of Mark. He was a chain smoker for 20 years. Identifying his triggers, substituting cigarettes with nicotine gums, and joining a support group helped him kick the habit for good. Remember, breaking a bad habit is not about stopping, but about replacing. It's about creating new, healthier patterns that eventually become second nature. So let's start replacing and make our lives a bit healthier, one habit at a time. So, what can you take away from our exploration of the psychology of habits? Well, we've discovered that habits are automatic behaviors, deeply ingrained in our neural pathways. These habits can be beneficial or detrimental, influenced by cues, routines, and rewards. To form positive habits, we need to start small, be consistent, and reinforce our progress with rewards. On the other hand, breaking bad habits involves identifying triggers, substituting healthier alternatives, and leaning on support systems. The real-life examples we discussed underscore these principles in action. Now it's your turn to apply these principles in your everyday life. Remember, forming and breaking habits is an ongoing process. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So, patience is key. Remember, change is a journey, not a destination. If you appreciate our content, like, subscribe, and share your experiences in the comments below. What should we explore next? Let us know.